exciting things than the Kingston campus, how many of you would like to do this sort of thing? Quite a few. Okay. That's something that is linked to your personality. There are some of us who are very nervous of doing anything that might be risky. So we're risk averse. Some of us love the idea, we need excitement, we want to go and do mad things. It also changes with age. Personality on the whole is quite stable, but it is subject to certain change. And one of the things that has been found by research, not surprisingly, is that we tend to get a bit more risk averse as we get older, especially when we have commitments, family that you have to look after. I used to do a lot of cross-country on a horse, galloping across big jumps. Fell off a couple of times. But when I fell off while I was expecting my first child, I decided maybe I should stop for a while. And since then, I've become a lily-livered coward on a horse. I just like going out for a quiet walk. Thank you. But that's how I've changed. Personality, though, is not only linked to what you like doing in your hobbies and how much risk you like to take. It's used quite a bit with employment. That's because it can determine to some extent how you behave. And it's this interaction between your personality and the situation you're in that can be really important for the employer, but also for you. Because this can make a difference to whether you're going to enjoy a job or not. So also on this Finding Potential website, where the personality information is, there's some tests you can take to try and see what sort of job you're most likely to enjoy. There's some hints on the personality test, but the more information you can get, the better, because there's nothing worse than having a job you hate, I promise. Now, let's take this example. So you've got people who are very anxious, who get easily anxious. Does that make sense? The people who we say have a high score in trait anxiety, as we refer to it, will be the types who will get very nervous in situations. If they've got a low trait anxiety, then they're very laid back. How many of you think you've got a low trait anxiety? So you're very laid back. Excellent. So you tend not to get too nervous. So, people in the middle, of course, which most of us are actually in the middle somewhere, they might get a bit anxious, but they'll probably manage. Now I've put here things like audience and familiarity with the material might influence that interaction between personality and the situation. Can you think of some other things that will influence how nervous you feel when you stand here? If I say to you, come here and talk to your friends, will you feel as nervous as if I say, come here and talk to a pile of strangers? Or do some people vary in that? They think it would actually be worse to talk to their friends. Anything else? So we've mentioned the subject matter. So how familiar you are with it. What about the size of the audience? Would you be more nervous with 500 people or 5? 500. That's often the case. It does feel a bit more pressured. What about if you were used... Sorry, come on. Yes, you had a...
maybe like the importance of what you're saying.
Absolutely. The importance of it. If it's going to get you a job or win you a prize of £100,000, you'll probably feel quite tense about it. Whereas if it's just fairly laid back, just talk to your friends for a few minutes until somebody else turns up, you won't be so worried. What about practice? Why do you think we make you give presentations? You do get better with practice. Yeah? Okay. That's how personality interacts with your behaviour in the organisation. Why are organisations so interested? Well, there is research. Meta-analytic study means someone's actually looked at lots of other studies, yes, and come to a conclusion about the whole lot of them, okay? And they said there is a link, but particularly a thing called conscientiousness. Now, if someone is conscientious. It means they turn up on time for things. They like to get their projects completed. They're very meticulous, probably have attention to detail, you know, really want to do a good job. So you wouldn't really be surprised to hear that there's a link between how you perform and how conscientious you are. But there's also this situation, the reason why I'm referring to the importance of you doing a job you enjoy, person-job fit. Have any of you been in work that you've hated? Yeah? Have you been in other work that you like? Okay, so that may be, is it because of the people or the type of job? The environment that you're in. It is very important to find an environment that you like and that suits your personality. But some of the environments are stronger than others and you're not able to make the most of your personality. Can you think of any examples where an environment is really strong? Sorry? The army, absolutely. There's very strict controls over what you wear, what you say, who you say it to. A friend of mine in the army forgot to salute properly because she'd got a bad finger and she was in so much trouble. So, you know, she would not be allowed to express her personality. She left, not surprisingly, after a while. But that's why it's so important to understand your own strengths and weaknesses, yeah? Those of you who printed off the report, you can already start talking to friends and family. It is worth talking to other people, especially if they know you reasonably well, because they can tell you whether the test has given you sensible information. Sometimes you read a report and you think, I don't understand that, that's not me, I'm not a nervous person, or whatever it's told you. But then you go and talk to a friend or a family member and they say, yeah, absolutely, that's you down to a T. You just have a blind spot and you can't see that yourself. Other times they will say, no, you're absolutely right, the report is wrong. And that's because you probably answered in a particular way. Maybe you're in a bad mood, or maybe you weren't paying attention when you clicked on a button. Also, this test, it's a free test, right? It has been developed based on what we call the Big Five of personality testing, so it's quite a good one, but it doesn't give you the depth and the detail that you would get from other personality reports. It will just give you an overview. So don't take it too seriously, but use it as something to reflect on. Think about, if an employer saw this, what sort of comments would they make? What questions will they ask me in an interview? And think about anything that you might be able to change. Things like conscientiousness can be improved by things like time management training, keeping a diary to log how conscientiously you are working, and going back to it and checking that you're actually doing as you promised yourself. So, set up some actions to improve on weaknesses, but do also think about your strengths. I would always encourage people to use their strengths rather than worry too much about weaknesses, depending on what the weakness is, of course. I mean, if you can never get out of bed, you need to sort that. Unless you end up in a job where it really, really doesn't matter, or where you don't have to start until midday or something. And those jobs aren't very frequent. So there are some things you will need to do. Really important. This is me, you see. I love this type of picture, but it does have a serious message. Be honest, don't oversell or indeed undersell yourself. It's no good lying to a test. Some of them have got tricks to try and check whether you're being consistent and will pick up if you're trying to lie. And other times you might just get the job and then hate it because you haven't been honest and you haven't picked up on that person-job fit thing, okay? So be honest with yourself. A lot of these are available on the website.